This is not just another trade rumor. This is the kind of moment that reshapes legacies, that redefines what it means to be a champion, and what it costs to keep chasing greatness. The Golden State Warriors are officially listed as the betting favorites, at plus 175 odds, to land Naz Reid in free agency. Yes, ahead of the Brooklyn Nets, ahead of the Charlotte Hornets, the Los Angeles Lakers, and even the Toronto Raptors, all of whom are vying for his signature. But before the confetti, before the highlights, before the parades, there is a truth that cannot be ignored. The Warriors have no cap space. Not enough to make this deal happen cleanly. Not enough to simply reach out, shake hands, and welcome Naz Reid to Chase Center with open arms. No. If they want him, they have to pay a price. The only path forward is the most treacherous one, a sign and trade. And that, right there, is where the heart of this story lies. Because Naz Reid is not just a solid rotation player. He is not just a nice addition to the bench. He is not just filling a gap. Naz Reid is a weapon. At 6'9", with the scoring versatility of a guard, the floor spacing of a wing, and the strength of a big, he is a rare, coveted archetype in today's NBA, a hybrid that some dare to call a blend of Jordan Clarkson's fearless shot-making, and Kevin Durant's smooth, impossible scoring efficiency. He's coming off the best season of his young career, and it's no surprise he's about to decline his $15 million player option. Why? Because he's outgrown it. Because the numbers don't lie. Naz Reid hit 38% from deep last season, not on easy catch-and-shoot looks, but with defenses flying at him, bodies rotating to contest his shots. He drilled 39% of his pull-up threes, a shot that only the league's most confident scorers even dare to attempt regularly. And the step-back threes? A cold-blooded, ice-in-the-veins. 50%. Half of the time, when he steps back behind that arc, defenders can only watch as the ball arcs through the air and splashes through the net. But this is not just about shooting. It's about presence. It's about pressure. It's about the way Naz Reid bends defenses, forces rotations, creates space for teammates, and makes life easier for every player sharing the court with him. And that is why the Warriors are willing to risk everything. Because this team, this dynasty, knows exactly what it needs right now. They need someone who can create his own shot when the offense bogs down, when the passing lanes are clogged, when the shot clock is winding down, when Steph Curry, for all his brilliance, simply cannot carry the load alone. They need a player who can inject life, inject chaos, into the half-court. Because here's the reality that no one wants to say out loud. The Warriors' core is aging. Steph is still otherworldly. Last season he averaged 26.4 points, 5.1 rebounds, and 5.0 assists per game. He remains the sun around which everything orbits. But he's 37. Draymond Green, still the defensive quarterback, still the emotional leader, but he too is now battling not just opponents, but time itself. Klay Thompson, once one of the most feared two-way players in the league, is no longer the same. This core, which once seemed invincible, is now vulnerable. And that vulnerability is the crack through which the cold winds of reality are blowing. So the Warriors need Naz Reid, not just to win. They need him to survive. But here's where the story takes its first devastating turn. To get him, they will have to sacrifice. The proposed sign-and-trade isn't just a tidy transaction. It's a seismic shift. Golden State would send out Jonathan Kuminga, the 21-year-old forward whose athleticism, raw power, and defensive potential many saw as the heir to the throne. He averaged 16.1 points, 4.8 rebounds last season, and was just scratching the surface. Gone. Along with Buddy Hield, one of the most consistent shooters in the league, who hit 38.6% from three last season. Along with Trayce Jackson-Davis, the promising rookie big, whose energy and size off the bench gave fans hope for a homegrown solution in the paint. And others. Plus, a 2027 first-round pick. Unprotected. Unprotected. A pick that could, in 4 years, be the cornerstone of a new era, or a haunting reminder of a gamble that went too far. All of that, for the right to pay Naz Reid $27 million per year, and to bring in D'Anthony Melton, a tough, versatile guard, known for his perimeter defense and spot-up shooting. The math is cold. The emotions, anything but. Because what the Warriors are truly betting on, is belief. Belief that their time is not over. Belief that this core, battered, doubted, criticized, still has one more run left. Belief that the addition of Reed and Melton can inject enough youth, scoring, and defensive tenacity to tilt the scales. And the new-look Warriors? They sound terrifying. Stephen Curry, the maestro, the magician. Brandon Podziemski, the rookie revelation, whose shooting and IQ give him a chance to be a real contributor. Jimmy Butler, yes, Jimmy Butler. The ultimate competitor, now part of this equation, bringing his relentless two-way game, his playoff scars, and his refusal to lose. Draymond Green, the voice, the anchor, the mind. And Naz Reid, the new piece, the offensive threat, the mismatch nightmare. Off the bench, D'Anthony Melton. Moses Moody. Gueye Santos. A team that, on paper, can match up with anyone. But, there's a price. Always, a price. The trade would leave the frontcourt dangerously thin. Without Kuminga, without Trace Jackson-Davis, the Warriors are suddenly exposed in ways they haven't been in years. And so the next chapter is already being written in back offices and front offices, in midnight phone calls and whispered conversations. Who will they add next? Maybe Brook Lopez, the veteran rim protector, who, despite his age, remains one of the most effective defensive bigs in the NBA. He shot 37.1% from three last season while anchoring the paint. Or maybe another move, a lesser-known big, a diamond in the rough, waiting to be discovered. Because without that reinforcement, this bold new Warriors roster could be vulnerable to teams with dominant interior presences. But still, the vision is clear. The Warriors see a path back. A path to contention. A path to redemption. Because last season was not good enough. They finished with a 46-36 record, barely clawing into the play-in tournament, then flaming out when it mattered most. It was not the ending anyone wanted. Not for Steph. Not for Steve Kerr. Not for a fan base that has tasted the highest highs, and now fears the long, slow slide into irrelevance. And so, here they are. On the edge. Looking down. Looking at Naz Reid, as both salvation and risk. Because for all his offensive brilliance, Reid is not yet an elite defender. That's the truth. But in Golden State's system, alongside Draymond, under Kerr's schemes, he could grow. He could be more than he's ever been. He could become the missing piece. And that is why this trade feels so heavy. Because it's not just about next season. It's about legacy. It's about how long you're willing to fight against the inevitable, how far you're willing to go to give your stars one more shot. And that shot, that moment, is all that separates legends from footnotes. Because someday, Steph Curry will walk away from the game. Someday, Draymond Green's voice will fade from the huddle. Someday, the dynasty will end. But not today. Not now. Not while there is still fight in them. Not while there are still threes to be launched from 35 feet out, still charges to be taken, still rings to be chased. The Warriors are staring at a future they cannot fully predict, but they know this. If they don't move, if they don't risk, if they don't leap, they will fade. But if they do, if they embrace the gamble, if they pay the price, they could rise, one more time. Naz Reid could be the catalyst. The shot creator they haven't had since Durant left. The scoring big that forces defenses to stretch beyond their comfort. The kind of player who, when it's late in the fourth, when the ball swings to the corner, when the defender closes out just a fraction too late, rises up, releases, and buries the dagger. And the unspoken truth? The NBA is merciless. It does not wait for anyone. Not for sentiment. Not for loyalty. Not for what a player or team used to be. It only cares about what you can do, right now. And right now, Naz Reid is ascending. And the Warriors have a chance to climb with him. But only if they dare. The trade is not done. The signatures are not on paper. The ink is not dry. But the stakes could not be higher. A new chapter could begin. Or the dynasty could fracture under the weight of its own ambition. The decision is looming. And the world is watching, breath held, waiting to see. Do the Warriors go all in, one more time? Or do they stand pat, and let the final embers of their greatness quietly burn out? This is not just another trade rumor. This is the battle for the soul of a dynasty. And here's the key takeaway from the channel: delve into financial education to enhance your quality of life. Within the financial market, explore bonds and shares, particularly focusing on real estate investment trusts, which offer the potential for passive income. Engage with this responsibly and consider reputable investment brokerages worldwide.